So, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Margate in the Isle of Thanet in northeast Kent. It's a beautiful day right at the beginning of the summer. It's about 21 degrees, so a really good temperature. And yeah, as you can see, I'm standing right at the seafront at Margate Main Sands, which is the principal beach here in the town. It's actually got one of the best beaches in the whole county. Very beautiful white sands, shallow water, and in the summer also quite warm water as well. If you can see behind me, there's actually a tidal pool, which is one of two tidal pools in the town, and this is a fantastic place for swimming because you're protected from the tides. Here in this part of the country, the tide does go out a really long way, so the tidal pools themselves are really cool things to have for swimming and bathing and that kind of thing. Yeah, so Margate is a town that I really like. I actually used to live here for 2 years back in 2017, and now I live in Canterbury, but I do come back to visit mainly in the summer. So it's a town that I know relatively well. In that respect, I'm really excited to be sharing it with you today. Yeah, I'm interested to see how it's changed over time, what Margate is like in 2025, what's going on, what the vibe is like, and that kind of thing. As you may know, Margate has got a long history of being a tourist resort or a holiday resort. This goes all the way back to the 1700s when people from London used to come down for the day for holidays and days out and that kind of thing. So it really is one of the most well-established sort of seaside towns, if you like, in the UK. I think a bit like Broadstairs and Ramsgate, it does benefit from being close to London, so it can have tourists coming down on a regular basis. It's a town that is very popular at the moment. It's very trendy. It's got a new kind of art scene going on, and that's largely to do with its connection to JWM Turner, who used to come here a lot for painting but also for leisure and things like that. Turner was a Londoner who used to come here on holidays. Also, more recently, Tracey Emin has made this town famous, and that's because she speaks about the town a lot in her artwork and various videos that she's made before. Another thing that Margate benefits from is the fast link train to London, so you can actually get here in about an hour from St Pancras station. That has made a big difference to the tourism industry. It's increased the footfall and the accessibility of the town. So I'm really chuffed to be back in Margate. It's such an interesting place, a town that I've liked for a long time. I've always found it a bit quirky, a bit unusual, and quite stylish and interesting in its own way. Let's go and have an explore, see what's going on in Margate, and try and get to know it a little bit better today. So the first interesting spot I want to share with you today is Dreamland, this fantastic place right in front of me. So Dreamland is a bit of a landmark in Margate for its very distinctive Art Deco style building, and this building dates back to the 1920s. It was originally called Pool by the Sea, and it was opened up in 1880, and then this Art Deco building was built in the 20s. But the thing it's most well known for is its vintage amusement park, and it has the oldest roller coaster in the UK, which is made out of wood and dates back to the 1920s. Yeah, so they host a lot of concerts and festivals and things like that here in the summer. It's only open at the weekend at the moment, so it's closed today because it's a Wednesday, so I won't be able to go in. It also has a roller disco, which is quite popular. Interestingly, Tracey Emin featured in a video for the Pet Shop Boys. Their song "A New Bohemia" was filmed in Margate, and if you look carefully on the video, you can actually spot Tracey in the roller disco, working behind the bar. I've never actually been to Dreamland, but it's one of these places that's become synonymous with Margate, to be honest. and is now very popular. This is the entrance to Dreamland. Still got this fantastic Art Deco architecture with this big brick face. And it has had lots of different reincarnations over the years, but it has been open since 2017 now. Yeah, so you can see what it used to look like back in the day. And here is a picture of the famous roller coaster that is made of wood and is still in operation today. Yeah, so they have lots of kind of old-fashioned rides like the Helter Skelter, Dodgems, the Waltzers, Big Dipper and that kind of thing. So traditional sort of theme park or amusement park rides and games and things like that. Just behind Dreamland you can see this high-rise residential tower, and this is called Arlington House. And again, this is very much a landmark in Margate because I think it's the tallest building in the whole town. It's a 1960s tower. I think it was built in 1961. It's over 18 floors and has something like 140 apartments. It's had a bit of a checkered history from what I can gather, but now the building has been refurbished and is fully functional as a residential building. And just below Arlington House you can see this defunct shopping precinct that was originally part of the same development. And again, it's had lots of reincarnations over the years, but it has been closed for a long time. If you look down there, you can see the train station. So the station is actually really close to the beach and to the town, which is great. So people coming from London and other parts of the UK can just walk straight onto the beach. So although it is quite hot, one of the nice things about being on the coast is you have a lovely breeze, and that's the case today. A really nice cool breeze to take away from the heat of the sun. Like I said, it's not super hot, it's about 21, 22 degrees, but the breeze is so nice. Gives the whole place a kind of really fresh and light feel. So along the seafront we have a lot of amusement arcades that are very popular with young people and families and stuff like that. Yeah, so you get the idea of the kind of place this is. Let's have a quick look inside. Relatively quiet, not that busy today. Yeah, a very cool place. Got all your traditional games. Pac-Man here. Air hockey. Penny pushers. Yeah, so really fun place to come with the kids and the adults. And it's got that very traditional sort of English seaside town feel. Yeah, so the arcades go all the way down this main promenade bit. Yeah, so we got ice cream parlours, Henry's Gifts, little gift shop, Sunset Fish and Chips. I think this is new actually, I've not seen this before. It does look very good. And the Mechanical Elephant is the local Wetherspoons. Spent a fair few evenings in that place. Good little pub. And yeah, mate. Thank you. Cheers. So here we've got some donuts and Tivoli Amusements, another amusement arcade. perhaps the biggest one. This is the Flamingo amusement arcade, right at the end of the promenade. So I've just walked up from the amusement arcades and now I'm in a little area called the Marine Gardens, which is a fantastic little green space right next to the seafront. Yeah, this is just a really nice place to come and have a sit down and relax and watch what's going on in the town. So the population of Margate is about 65,000. It's a medium-sized town, I would say, and its main industry is very much tourism, and that means that in the summer and spring months it is very busy. It does get quite crowded, especially when the weather's good. So the next thing I want to share with you is the clock tower, which is right in front of me, also known as the Jubilee Clock Tower. So here you can see the Flamingo arcades from the outside. Yeah, the arcades go all the way down. And right here in front of me is the Margate Jubilee Clock Tower, which is another landmark in the town, really. So I just had a quick look at the plaque at the bottom of the tower. It was designed and made for Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee in 1887, but it wasn't actually completed until 1889, and when it was designed by someone called William Shears from Twickenham in London. So it's a beautiful little clock tower. It's actually got a time ball at the top. I don't know if you can see that. I don't actually think the time ball's working anymore, and this used to serve as a guidance to ships and boats to let them know what time it is. The clock itself is actually working, as you can see, which is great. Yeah, it's just a fantastic little clock tower right in the middle of town, but it's got tons of character and a nice bit of history as well. So I don't know how well you can see these metal medallions. This one says Jubilate 1887. Yeah, and we've got a little doorway here, and I think that is a portrait of Queen Victoria. In the Victorian era, Margate would have been a very popular tourist destination, very popular resort. I think that is a medallion of Edward VII when he was still a prince. So it's one of these sites that you'll definitely see in Margate when you come in, but I think it goes largely unnoticed, to be honest, when people are walking past. Yeah, so I've just spotted this plaque, and I don't know if you can see at the bottom, it says 1736, England's earliest seaside resort. So that's nearly 300 years of welcoming tourists to the town. That's incredible, isn't it? Yeah, so you can see what a busy town Margate is, and the beach isn't that busy at the moment. I think that's because it's a Wednesday, but when the weather's good, it does normally fill up. As you may or may not know, there has been a scandal in the UK recently of water companies dumping untreated sewage into the rivers and seas. If you look at the water, there's only a handful of people actually in the sea. And I think this has had an impact on whether people are actually willing to get into the sea or not in England. And most people have decided it's probably not a good idea, because if you swallow some of the water, you could get ill. So yeah, this has been a kind of awful thing that's gone on really in the past sort of 3 or 4 years. And in this area, Southern Water is the main culprit in this case, but it is happening all over the country, unfortunately. Yeah, so just check out what a beautiful beach it is. It really is stunning. It's absolutely massive. It goes all the way down to the little harbour arm. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of work going on the seafront. There's a lot of development happening, renovations and that kind of thing. And this is kind of reflecting the growth of Margate itself. Lots of very stylish bars, restaurants. There's a pizza restaurant there. And as you can see, There's more work going on these buildings here. Yeah, so we're on the main sort of promenade now of the beach. So they've got these fantastic steps that go right down to the beach. And when the tide's out, people can sit and have a look at the view, enjoy the weather, feed the seagulls and that kind of thing. It's absolutely stunning on a day like this. You can see the harbour arm with the lighthouse there. You've got the Droit House, which is the tourist information centre, the Turner Contemporary, and a bit further down you've got the Old Town as well. Yeah, so it's just a fantastic day, lovely weather to be enjoying the town of Margate. So as we come to the end of the promenade, we come to the start of the Old Town. So the views are absolutely stunning here in Margate. This is one of the best places to come in the afternoon to get some sun and to enjoy the fabulous views. I do remember one of the best things about living in this town is being able to go for these fantastic walks. Just wonderfully beautiful strolls along the coastline. And whilst it's obviously nicer in the summer, it's also very beautiful in winter, albeit quite windy and wet. But it's one of these towns on the Kent coast that is beautiful all year round. So it's a bit like Folkestone or Broadstairs or Ramsgate or something like that. Even in the winter, it is incredibly beautiful. But obviously in the summer, it's a bit more pleasant because it's warm and it's sunny for obvious reasons. So like I said, this is the start of the Old Town. And we'll come back and have a look at the museums later. But I just want to have a look around the streets and squares of the Old Town to see what's going on. Got the Old Kent Market there as well, which is another landmark in the town. Barnacle's Pub. There has been a kind of renaissance in this town over the past 20 years, I would say. And for a long time, it was quite run down. And when the Turner Contemporary Museum was built in 2010, that really did kickstart the renaissance and renovation and, you know, the rebirth, if you will, of the town. But it has now got a bit of a reputation of being an artistic, creative town outside of London, really. Yep, so you can see Charlie's Bar here. It's got this big terrace. People are having lunch. And then this one is called the Med. And this is serving pizzas and Mediterranean food. And I've just noticed that this building is actually called Ingoldsby House, in connection with Richard Barham. So I'm now walking down what's called Market Street in the Old Town. This part of Margate is known for interesting bric-a-brac shops, second-hand shops and that kind of thing. Just spotted another interesting blue plaque for Karl Marx, who stayed here in 1866. The Old Town is very quaint, very interesting, got little shops, bars, a few pubs. Got an old-fashioned sweet shop there. Got some interesting gift shops and clothes shops, Chalk Margate. The Lifeboat Ale and Cider House. Now, Olivo Pizza and Italian food is one of the most highly rated restaurants in the whole of Margate. I never actually went when I was living here, but it does have very good reviews online. So this is a big old pub called the Bull's Head. You can see the original building there. And this has been completely refurbished and regenerated from when I lived here. It used to be quite a basic drinker's pub, and it looks a bit more gourmet and gastro now. Just seen another blue plaque. Eric Morecambe, the comic, held his wedding reception here in 1952. Very interesting. So we've got the Margate Bookshop, the Greedy Cow Cafe. Yeah, so this is just called Marketplace Cafe Del Margs, which is due to open up. And here we've got the Margate Museum, which I think was the old town hall. Let's have a look at this. Right, so it looks like the Margate Museum's actually closed at the moment. It doesn't look open. The Margate Museum is currently not open to visitors. I imagine they're refurbishing, that's kind of normally what happens. So check out all these very cool shops and bars: Lulu's, Gelato and Sorbetto, Pickled Fox Pizza. I think these are quite new, to be honest. I don't remember these being here when I lived here. The Wig and Pen, that is a very traditional pub that I think has been there forever. Yeah, there are a lot of these places, and it reflects the kind of creative atmosphere that's going on in the town at the moment. A lot of artists looking to exhibit their works. On Broad Street, you can see a few more galleries. We've got the Pie Factory Gallery, Gallery 7. We've got Bottega Caruso, Italian shop and kitchen. Yeah, so very interesting old town they've got here. So I'm now in the Pie Factory Gallery. This is a local gallery and they are setting up a new exhibition here. And there is a local artist who has done various artworks about Margate with these fantastic colours and also some very interesting photography. Yeah, so just a really beautiful, quite a small space for exhibiting works. So in the next room we've got some watercolour paintings, and a lot of them seem to be paintings of the town of Margate. Very interesting installations on the walls here. Very cool paintings, sculptures, different types of artwork, getting ready for the exhibition here. So these paintings are acrylic paintings done of the town of Margate with this fantastic Japanese style wave coming over the top. And yeah, this is just a fantastic space. Very cool, calm atmosphere in here and just excellent for exhibiting works of art. And this is the door to the old walk-in fridge, which is now a kitchen. And it's got these fantastic original tiles as well, which add a lot of history to the interiors.
If I told you about that, you'd be so sure.
They've also got something called Gallery 7 here and the Crab Museum. I don't think the Crab Museum is actually open today, but look at these fantastic old buildings. Used to have the Thanet Times based here. I'm sure that's a long defunct newspaper. So Gallery 7 isn't actually open either, but you can see some of the artworks in the window, and the artist is called Stephen McGuinness. So it's interesting how a lot of the artists are choosing to paint Margate itself or depict Margate itself in their work and exhibit here. So it's obviously quite an inspirational town. It's a very beautiful location. This part of the country is called the Knuckle of England. So we're right on the North Kent coast, northeast Kent coast, and we're actually facing the North Sea, not the English Channel like the rest of, this part of Kent. And therefore it does get quite windy and cold in the winter, but also there are fantastic sunsets and incredibly beautiful skylines. And that is something that also Turner noticed about this town and why he decided to paint it and spend time here. So it does have quite a long history of inspiring artists with its natural beauty. Yeah, so on this street there are lots of second-hand shops, vintage clothing and that kind of thing. So this is called King Street. An interesting mix of new places like this Vietnamese food shop and more traditional antiques, bric-a-brac shops. So until quite recently this was actually an antique shop, and now it is a vintage clothes shop. Another one here called Arven, Artisans and Adventurers. Very cool.